Wow, this is really a full class tonight, isn't it?
Bouncing around.
Yeah. Really appreciate
Nice
it.
talk.
We're all awake now.
Am I good, Andy?
Looks good.
Yeah. So I want to go back in time. I want to go back to May. It was a certain day in May, and I don't remember what it was, but it was May of 2015. And Missy, you're going to remember this month. I didn't prep. I kind of told Missy what I was going to talk about and how I was going to do it. She called me a cheater. So anyway, more on that. All kind of messages today, isn't there? Missy, you can just press the button if it's. Oh, we go till 7:30, right? Okay, I got to set a timer so I don't go over. Okay, was it ours? Okay, so back to the story. Sometime in May 2015, Missy and I had gone to bed about an hour, so we're pretty much in that sleep mode. She definitely was. I was probably just drifting in and out there. And then we got a phone call that night. And I knew what the call was about because I had made this call once myself a long time ago. And it was my son. He had joined the Marine Corps. And I don't know if you're familiar with somebody in the military, but when they get there, after a couple of days, they call home. And if you remember what that call was like, and I mean, it was kind of, it was sad because, I let Missy take the call because I knew she wanted to hear our son's voice. But it was a very scripted, a very brief, and it was one-way communication, and that's all. You didn't have time to say anything because as soon as he got done with his script, he hung up. And so I don't know if anybody's been the recipient of this call, but as soon as the call ended and I looked at her, well, it was time to pick up some pieces. Because, but the idea was, how much that a parent loves to hear from their children. And even if it's a letter, even if it's one-way communication, a parent loves to hear from their children. So tonight's lesson is lesson 12. I think there's one more. Chris is doing that next week, and it kind of wraps up the whole thing. I don't even remember the name of the book. I just took pictures of the chapter, right? And of course, in my style, I totally did my own thing. But I tried to stay true to the heading, which was our lifeline to God. It's about prayer. It's about prayer. And so the purpose is basically, how does prayer keep us close to God? This is the kind of the statement of this chapter. How prayer keeps us close to God and develops and strengthens our spiritual growth. And so out of all the chapters of the book, I selected this one. And I did that because I am not a prayer warrior. As a matter of fact, my prayer life is probably, I'd be rated like a D if I was getting rated. It's never been that great. And so I thought, you know what, I should probably do this study because I need to really get into why this is so important that we pray. And so I did this. And the other reason I did it was because it was one of the few chapters left when Chris stuffed that volunteer list under my face. So I said, okay, I'll do this one. Now I'm going to use a technique tonight. It's called flipping the classroom. Has anybody ever heard that before? Flipping the classroom? This is like a class. Okay, you never heard. Good. I'm an instructor at a college, and so one of the techniques we use is called flipping the classroom. And what that means is I become the student, and you become the teacher. And this is a great method of teaching when you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going to use that today. So here are the rules. The rules are, I want you to try your best to use biblical references. So just if some of us here, some of you here are great at, hey, chapter, verse, and everything. Very good at that. I'm terrible at that. So if you're not a verse, chapter, book kind of person, you can say what I say all the time is, somewhere it says, and then I say something, right? And so we're going to depend on those people who have that book, chapter, verse, like Jerry or Mike or Missy or people that can remember that exact place where it is. We're going to have you go ahead and look that up for us. But please don't hold back because you don't know where exactly it is. But I'm going to say be careful because after being a Christian for a number of years, I was in a class, and we were talking about the Exodus, right? And so I made this comment of something that happened during the Exodus. And everybody got kind of quiet, and they just kind of brushed me off, and they moved on to the next question and topic. And later on, I found out that I wasn't quoting the Bible. I was quoting Cecil B. DeMille's. Because that movie, if you've watched it, after you've read Exodus, you're like, this is not the story. And so, okay, so maybe you saw a Christmas show or something like that, and you say something, that's all right, we're going to forgive you, because I've been in that same boat. But try to use biblical references. So in its basic form, what is prayer in a biblical sense? And if nobody answers me, I will pick somebody. That's my technique in school. And I look for the person that's not looking at me. So if you're doing this, I'm just going to pick you. Yeah. So can I just take this off or no? Are you doing that on purpose, Andy? Okay, so in its basic form, what is prayer in a biblical sense? What is prayer? Talking to God, right? It's talking to God. Just God? I get a yes. Absolutely, right? Yes. Mike, you mentioned this on Sunday. You know what I'm talking about? Did that work? I don't know if you did it.
Was that supposed to be part of the class?
That's the dial tone.
Hey, you know what?
While you're waiting.
Sometimes that's probably how our prayers sound to God.
I thought it was part of it.
Nah, no, it was not. Although I've been known to do stuff like that. Okay, so it's just God, right? Mike even said something about praying to Jesus, right? In some faiths, they pray to the saints, and the idea is that the saints are closer to God, so they're going to kind of be your advocate to do that. But we don't have any reference to that in the Bible. The Bible basically is talking prayer. We're talking with God. Does that mean we can't sing that song, Just a Little Talk with Jesus, anymore? Or is that still on the books? Anyway, I'll move on with that. Is this a two-way communication? Two-way communication? When we pray, do we hear God's voice?
We don't exactly hear God's voice.